Hey St. Cloud, welcome to the Live in St. Cloud podcast. Our guest today, super excited to have you, and I know you're excited to be here.
Yeah, I am.
Our local heartthrob that you can find either making you money while you sleep or
yeah.
singing on a stage around town. Kenyon
Love
Lockry.
Thank you, buddy.
St. Cloud original, which
Yes,
is great
sir.
to have you here.
Yeah.
You represent the Kenyon Capital Group
That's
and
right.
yourself and your music, correct?
Exactly.
So I want to
Exactly.
dive into a little bit so let's first talk about Jason's forte is events.
Yep.
We're going to get to a bunch of topics today. We're going to get to music. We're going to get to making money
Yep.
while you sleep,
Love
finances,
it.
things like that. We're also going to talk a little bit about your presentation. You're always dressed real nice.
Yeah,
And as
man.
someone that's
Like
very
you.
similar.
Let's try to be like you, buddy.
appreciate it. So I know, let's start real quick with an event. You will be on stage today, right?
I will be.
Where are you going to
Yes.
be at, and how frequent do you
Yeah.
that
Thanks for
location?
asking, man. I'll be at the Canoe Creek Sports Tavern tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I play there the last Friday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got my other long-standing staple is Krabby Bill's. I play there the first and third Friday of every month.
Okay.
And both of those venues I've been playing there literally over a decade.
Wow.
So they've spoiled me.
That's good.
And you also go to the Drunken Parrot. I
Drunken
think, right?
Parrot,
How often
absolutely.
do you go there?
That's newer. I've been doing that. It'll be a year, I
Okay.
think. Yeah,
That's great.
The second Friday of every month.
So every Friday
Yeah.
night you're
basically.
singing. Okay.
Yep.
And then how often do you go to the monthly market? Because you're there on and off.
Yes, it's been a minute since I've done that.
Okay.
But I always love doing it.
Okay.
Last time I played it was for fire.
Okay.
Yeah. So they even hooked me up with some good food
Yeah.
and drinks
No,
last
that's
time.
great.
so-
Great. What type of music do you play?
Yeah, so listen, I tell people I sing honky tonk, rockabilly, and all time favorites. But it's kind of like a big every time. It's impossible for me to describe it because if I say country music, I don't feel that I'm a country singer. I'm not like country today.
Yeah.
So it's confusing.
Okay.
But
Like confusing music.
That's right. That's it.
But it's still great.
It's good. I feel like the only crowd I really can't really, and I can try to tap into them, but I really lose like the 20-somethings, I feel like. But most anybody else, I can typically work the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's very talented.
Do you
Yeah.
feel that's a generational thing, of course?
I do.
You're kind of connecting with
Oh,
those
yeah.
from your
Yeah.
generation with that music?
Exactly. And I feel like I'm too close to the fire. Like I can't I think that I must sound like I'm from outer space to somebody in their 20s. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that if I listen to new music, the elements of it are completely different than what I do.
Yeah.
The digital aspect of it, the rhythms, even the time signatures are different.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm a
So-
huge fan of music like that.
Yeah.
Off-time signatures.
Yeah.
things like that.
Oh, me too, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm doing that, but it's mainly like even just 2/4 sounds really ancient, I think, to people's ears. That Hank Williams.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
How often do you do the music that you have time to do the work? Like what do you? Like,
It's a
how do you
balance.
How do
It's
you
a
balance
balance. Luckily, I've been doing the music so long, and it's like those venues
Yeah.
have treated me so good that it's like autopilot
Yeah.
now. I don't really have time to practice throughout the week.
it? Right.
I grab my guitar for an hour before I go to Krabby Bill's or the
Yeah.
tavern, and hey, this feels good. I
Yeah.
haven't seen you all week. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. So, but it makes it easy that way for me.
And then to write the music too. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you do new albums.
I do.
How does that work?
Yeah, I have a new one coming out.
Yeah. How do you find the time?
That is from journaling. I journal. I like to so mainly for like just reflective
Yeah.
times, and then I'll pick.
Sure.
Sometimes songs will come out of it.
That's
I
great.
say, man, that's a song, and then I get obsessed, and then I just have to sit there and write the song.
Okay. Who's your favorite country artist of all time? Then? Or
Oh,
Honky
Hank
Tonk, or
Williams, Hank Williams, and Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
and then Elvis Presley. Those are my top three. Yeah.
You got a little bit of that flair. I can kind of
Yeah,
I can see that.
see that stage presence.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And since he asked that question, I was gonna grill you with music questions.
Yeah.
I'm such a big music.
Oh,
fan.
listen, I
So,
love it. I can talk about it all day.
I got asked a question years ago, and I think it's one of the hardest questions to answer. So,
Yeah.
if you could put on a top 5, not artists, but albums
Ooh.
of all time, top
That's-
5
wow.
albums.
That's a tough
Tough
one.
one.
That's a tough one.
That's a
I
tough
got to
one.
tell you, for me, Now, I'm not saying these are critically the best albums
Right,
of
no,
all
but
time.
your favorite.
Yeah, the ones that influenced me the most, I have to say, this one may shock you guys, but if you've seen me live, it won't. But Nevermind by Nirvana is in the top 5. That first time I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit, I was a little kid, and I'd never heard anything like it in my whole life.
Right. Yeah.
It changed. I remember it.
Yeah.
And Green Day Dookie was huge for me in my childhood. And then I have to say, so the thing about my heroes from the past is the album LP format, like in the 50s, it wasn't as popular as like singles.
Sure.
So it's hard to find like a Johnny Cash album.
Oh yeah.
That was like boom. So like, but Johnny Cash at Sun would have to be his Sun record recordings, Elvis at Sun, and then I'd have to say like Hank Williams' greatest hits. They were just all singles.
That's
Like,
a lot of like big alternative,
Yeah.
but like classic country.
Yeah.
But to that
Yeah.
point, like up until Johnny Cash came along, up until Elvis came along,
Yeah.
nobody had heard anything like
No.
that. So it's
Right.
the same musical format.
You're so
it's
right.
that breaking of the
There-
barriers.
You said it, man. So true. I'd say that that's what I think all artists aim to do is just be completely original, come out of left field. Yeah.
And that doesn't surprise me that because I expected the country.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think most of our audience expected the
Yeah.
90s, but I mean,
Right.
like, that's such an influential time
Oh,
in anybody's
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like, is that around
So
the
true.
same time you picked up musical
Exactly.
equipment? Yeah.
Exactly. I was learning guitar. My guitar teacher, who's still teaching, he's teaching my son right now
Wow.
at Jammers,
That's
Clint
cool.
Stewart. And he's. I remember the lesson. I was like 10. He's like, "What song do you want to learn first?" I was like, "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Yep. So you couldn't be in that time, I would argue,
Right.
and play guitar and not be obsessed with Nirvana and all those bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pearl
absolutely.
Jam, Stone Temple Pilots,
Yeah, and
Metallica.
Metallica, totally.
Huge.
Yeah. 90s were big for.
Oh
for
man,
bands
it's a
like
great
that.
rock era
Yeah,
for me.
I mean, we'll be nostalgic and
Yeah.
a little biased because we grew up in that
Exactly.
era. Everyone's a little biased to the era.
Oh,
they grew up
totally.
in. But I think when you look at it as an entire piece of music, I'm like,
Yeah.
80s had their gems, right? But
They
like,
did.
I think 70s and 90s were
They had a
music.
pretty, it's hard to argue with that. 60s too.
60s,
And then of course
yeah.
50s because I think of Jerry Lee and Elvis and Johnny Cash were the rock and
Yeah,
rollers
and
then.
So I had a little bit of a similar conversation with Batch over at Batch of Music.
Yeah.
We sat down and talked music a lot. I think over the time of you had your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, but people actually striving to be musicians was so rare at the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
So like when someone broke through or wanted to strive to be an artist and got albums out there, everybody just jumped on board because
It
it
was
wasn't
different,
a
wasn't it?
saturated.
Right.
Oh, no
deal.
doubt about it. No doubt. Even if it was just a maybe it was like technological.
Sure, yeah.
Like you're a hillbilly in the mountains. You got to go to Bristol, Tennessee to record
Yeah,
something.
right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
And then to your point is, I always differentiate you said my favorite albums. I always differentiate like when I say best, there's always a differentiator of favorite versus best, right? 'Cause,
Right.
like best, you can kind of categorize
Oh,
as
yeah.
high influence, billboards,
yeah.
things like that. But I like hearing people's favorite because it's more personal.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, because it'd be easy for me to say, "Oh, Sgt. Pepper, the Beatles."
Right.
Yeah, and which is great, but
Yeah.
it didn't influence me like those others.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Anything for events? I mean,
Yeah.
you're all over the place.
Yeah,
with
you've
events.
always took care of me too, man. I appreciate you always
Yeah,
being in my
no,
corner,
it's,
man.
it's always in the
Yeah,
calendar.
I know it, dude.
And now we're putting it on the app, so all
That's
your appearances
fantastic.
will put you on the app.
Makes me feel good,
Yeah,
man.
get the app now. I just downloaded it. It's fantastic. It's out there now on iOS and
Android.
So it's no longer. I mean, it's available to everybody now.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
congrats on that.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
You. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
that's
it.
cool.
So I updated. I'm not gonna put all 20 appearanries, but like on a month
Hey,
to
I
month,
get it.
on the month to month basis.
Listen, it means a lot to me, man.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, dude.
You got it. My
Yeah,
pleasure.
and this time of year is best. It always is a little slow in the summer because I'm outside.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
hot.
yeah, it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
So it starts to pick up this time of year. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are you part of
Yeah.
the parade?
I'm gonna be in the parade. That's
as,
right.
As a float?
I'm gonna have a float, and then I'm actually singing before it starts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they said they're gonna get me like a golf cart to take me to my float after I sing.
Oh,
You
great.
get
great.
So I'll feel like
VIP
VIP.
access?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
You gotta like make a
Exactly.
billboard that says your name on it.
That's
It says
what I'm
your
thinking.
says Capital Group and put it on the side of
That's
the
it.
golf
golf
cart.
cart.
I mean, but you're
Exactly.
still gonna have your guitar when you're on the float, right?
That's true. Yeah, we're gonna. I got my band with me.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we're gonna perform.
On the float.
Yeah, on the float while
That's
we
great.
roll down the street. Exactly,
Good
it's
stuff,
fun.
man.
We kind of cheat a little bit because that's kind of easy for us, and we're kind of light on the decorations, but we just have the experience.
Right,
Yeah. Just put some lights on it, some wreaths, you'll be fine.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Holidays are so fun in,
Oh,
in
yeah.
this town. Like,
Yeah.
all the, I mean, there's more events coming.
Oh, yeah,
Christmas
man.
parade's always been great.
It's special
Yeah.
to me. I mean, because I'm from here too.
Right, right.
Been
Yeah.
doing it coming to it my whole
Does
life.
it pass by your office?
It doesn't. I wish it did.
Like you were off by one street. right?
Exactly. It comes down, if I'm not mistaken, Pennsylvania. Then it goes through downtown here,
Yeah.
and then Massachusetts.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because it went down Florida, last year or the year before when they were doing the
Did it
road
really?
work? Yeah, when they were doing the road work,
Okay.
I think it came down, but I think they
Got
turned
it.
on 10th. Because
Yeah.
all of the road work was
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, it's hard for me to when you're on. That is interesting. Being on the parade, like you really don't know. I don't know what street I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
waving to people.
You just go, yeah.
or playing. Yeah.
I did it
Exactly.
3 years ago, and it was a blast.
Oh, it's a blast, man.
When I was signed on with Royal the first year I was there, we
Yeah.
did the Christmas parade, and we were Royal themed. So my
Oh,
first
yeah.
instinct was, do we have a court jester?
Yeah.
And we didn't, so I dressed up as a court jester.
That's perfect.
And I got a ton of coal candy, like candy that
Oh.
was wrapped up like coal.
That's
And I just
wonderful.
went around and handed it and threw it at people.
That had to be a hit.
Because, I mean, it was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I would pull out business cards and like get them to lean in and take one and then pull them
Oh,
back.
right.
Just because
Just
I'm a jester,
dude.
I have to,
Ex-
yeah,
you
I have to play the
do.
part.
You played
That's
the part
fine.
well. That's
Okay,
cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. It's a blast. No doubt.
Let's talk about you mentioned balance earlier, so
Yeah.
let's switch to the other side of the coin.
Sure.
Literally the coin.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's talk about Kenyon Capital Group.
Yeah,
Let's talk
man.
about when you found, when it was founded, what
Yep.
pushed you in that direction as a career
Sure.
choice, and how is it going thus far?
Yeah, thank you, man. So, it started November. It'll be a year next month. Here in a couple
Congrats,
weeks.
man.
Yeah,
I can't
thank
believe
you.
it,
I
man.
know
It's
it,
been a
man.
year
I
already.
know
Jeez.
it. It's flown by.
It has.
So it's been a year. I was with a major firm. I don't know. I'm still under some sort of contract for like a couple weeks here, so I've got to be careful what I say.
Okay.
I don't know. It's silly, but I
It's all right.
was with a
It
yeah.
happens in our industry.
Yeah.
Industries.
Exactly. So I basically went from being an employee, in my eyes, I would say that. I went from being an employee to a business owner.
Sure.
With a major firm, so the way it works is I'm backed by LPL Financial. Not to get too in the weeds with the logistics of it, but it's not just, I want people to understand that, because sometimes like, oh, Kenyon, you just went from a massive firm where I see your commercials on TV to,
Yeah.
are you all by yourself? And the answer is no. So my firm now is the largest independent firm
Sure.
in the U.S. It's like 1.3 trillion under management. So
Yeah.
when it's not just me by myself by any means.
Right, right.
Yeah, but I wanted to basically I wanted to be my own boss.
Sure.
I wanted, yeah. So and it's better for my clients, I would argue, because
Yeah.
I have way more freedom. The LPL's basically like, listen, man, it's your business. How can we help?
Right.
And you do you know your clients better than we do.
More of
Yeah.
a backing supportive
Exactly.
supportive stance that's kind of
Right.
in the background as opposed
That's
to
right.
overhead
Exactly.
managing.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't surprise me because I mean a lot of people with the entrepreneurial spirit, that's kind of just where they
There
end
you
up.
go.
Is
There you go.
They want to do it and then they do it to the best of their ability and then they realize like I'm confined and I'm a little constrained here more than I want to be,
Right.
and that's
Exactly.
what pushes them out to want to do it their way. Like I meet with a lot of brokers, and then I always ask them like, what did you not get at your brokerage
Yeah.
before that you're now getting? Like, what was so important to you that you had to do it yourself? So
Yeah.
I would ask you
Right.
the same thing.
Yeah.
If you could talk about it.
Yeah.
What was so important to you that you said, I'm not getting this here. This
Yep.
is important to me, so I want to give it back to my client.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that the autonomy is the fancy word for it.
I was
yeah.
going to say that.
Yeah, that's it. man.
Because you're a lot more autonomous when you're
Yes,
independent.
that's it. And so you've got that. It's freedom. It's sometimes maybe my client doesn't want to talk to me. You know, I have to check a box with this firm. Like, oh, I talk to my clients all the time. It's like
Sure.
just like having to stick to a blueprint, which I get it. If you have the way some of those firms are set up, they have to have some sort of guideline like that.
Right.
But when you're, some of my clients don't want to hear from me all the time.
Right.
They'll say, Kenyon, do what I don't even know what you're talking about. Just take care of it, make me money.
Of course.
And so it was a no-brainer for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I think at that point it comes down to a value.
Yeah.
Right? Is you value
That's it.
autonomy and independence.
That's right.
So that's what you want to kind of cultivate and give back to your clients.
That's right.
And I see that a lot, and especially in 1099 contractor work and
Yes.
things like that. Is like if you start as a 1099 contractor, chances are you do not want someone over your shoulder breathing down your
There
neck.
ain't no doubt about it.
You do not want
Exactly.
the top down.
No.
And we understand that.
Yeah.
And like you said, there has to be systems in place. There has to be checks and
Of
balances,
course.
especially if you're such a large conglomerate company.
You said it,
Like,
man.
I get it,
Yep.
But you're, just like me. You're local. You want to be local. You
Exactly.
want to have that. You cultivate the freedom a little bit more.
It's so true. It's that you nailed it, man. I couldn't put it any better than that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about financial freedom. Let's
Yeah.
good segue there.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
when it comes to someone that doesn't have a lot of money, but they want to grow their money, they don't have the money to invest in my
Yeah.
field, something
Sure.
like real estate. They
Right.
can invest in your field for a whole lot cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
And see
Oh,
if
yeah.
they're patient, see the same amount of results. So
Yes.
so speak a little bit
Yeah.
on how little someone can start,
Yeah,
how
man.
much they can gain. Even if you want to give some success stories. in that
Yeah.
realm.
First of all, I tell clients like $1,000 is a really nice place to start. But if you're in your 20s or something, just whatever you can, $50 a week or a month, Of course, 1,000 is nice because I can put them in a fee-based. They can get a better investment. If we're below, I would argue that. That's not
Sure.
definitive,
Right.
but yeah. So that's a really nice place to start. And then I just did a little video about this, and I say it all the time to people. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand guy, he said that 100,000, which sounds daunting,
Right.
but you got to just get to 100,000 to really see the magic. Like, how do you become a millionaire? That question.
Right.
Like, get to 100,000 as fast as possible,
Yeah.
and then you really start seeing the magic of compound interest show itself. Because so there's a rule too. I'll say this: about every 7 years, the S&P 500, the index, will double. So if you have $1,000 that you invest and then don't ever put another dime into it, in 7 years you're gonna have $2,000,
Right.
and that's really boring for people. And so you've got to really. But if it's 100,000 in 7 years, that's now 200,000,
Right.
and then 400,000, and then so you see how it picks up very quickly at that point. But it's a patient game. It's not get rich quick. If it was,
Right.
I wouldn't be sitting
Yeah,
here.
everybody would.
I don't
Exactly.
I don't know if there's any.
Yeah.
I've listened to you mentioned Munger, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of people out there that are millionaires and billionaires, and they'll say, like, there's no such thing as getting rich quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
not wealthy.
No.
Not to the point
I don't
where
believe-
most people that get rich quick, they lose it just as quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a good point. And also, money that we use that word liquidity because it flows, man. Like the
Right.
top 10 richest people, the 1%, that changes so fast because everyone's
Yeah, of
aggressively
course.
trying to grow.
Right.
And you want to talk about that, one day, just like I was giving you the example of the 100,000, if you have 2 billion, well, that could be 1.5 billion
Right.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still a whole bunch of money, but it's going to fluctuate
Yeah.
and flow like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So what do you tell people who are hesitant now, especially now during this period, the
Yeah.
last 4 years, with
Election year.
inflation, election
Yeah.
year. A lot of people can't afford. Obviously, we can't afford gas,
Oh,
groceries.
goodness, yeah.
We're tight
Yep.
and strapped. So what do you tell
Yeah.
clients or prospects and potential clients about this period and then
Yeah.
post-election?
Yeah. So right now, I've got the brakes on for my clients' portfolio's. What I mean by that is we're very defensive, planning for the worst, hoping for the best.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're still in the game, we're still invested, but we're planning for a recession, basically, to put
Okay.
it bluntly.
Sure.
So if I'm wrong, maybe we lost a few potential
Yep.
points in gains, maybe 10 points in gains.
Right.
I don't know, but we also, if I'm right though, we didn't take it on the chin.
Yeah.
If it falls off a cliff in the
Of course,
next couple
then
of
you'll-
days,
yeah.
yeah.
Protected, yeah.
But
Exactly.
so now, like, that's your current clients. But like, if I was
Yep.
to become a prospect and say, hey,
Yeah.
Kenyon, I don't know, man. I don't know if I have the $1,000 that
Yeah.
you're asking me to do.
Got it.
I can't afford. So, like, what would you tell prospect?
Yeah, I would just tell them that basically you can't afford not to, but I wouldn't say it maybe that.
Right,
I'd
right,
meet
of
the
course.
person where they're at, say
Yeah,
it
of course.
generally maybe, but inflation is eating you up if you have the $1,000 in the bank, your risk is inflation.
Yep.
There's risk everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
So if it's under your mattress, inflation's eating it up.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
yeah, so and right now inflation's so high, you have to at least be getting like 5-6%, arguably, maybe 4.5 to even just break even.
Yeah. It's tough.
So that's what I would say. But I'd also say, listen, if the 1,000 scares you, just like I said, don't let me put a number on it.
Right.
I would just if
Put
you just
something.
get the discipline of monthly dollar cost averaging, whatever you feel comfortable with. If it's $50 a month, yeah.
Yeah.
So because I'm never the guy that said, oh, I have a $100,000 minimum
Yeah.
to do business. I'm not that guy.
Sure.
Maybe I should be sometimes, but no. But I especially for young people, I love seeing 20-somethings
Yeah.
do $250 a month. The math is
Okay.
out on that they're going to be
Right.
have a couple million in their 60s
It's great.
in retirement. Yeah.
It's amazing.
With very little, it's a sacrifice if you're 20 years old to do $250 a month. Don't get me wrong.
It is.
But yeah,
Sacrifice for us now.
yeah,
I mean,
anybody.
man,
I know,
anybody.
buddy.
Yeah, it's even worse for that. Like I have someone approach me at 20.
Oh, exactly.
I would've, yeah.
At 20, you don't have the foresight.
No, you
Like,
don't.
You don't have
Retirement.
It's
I'm-
your
yeah.
your brain isn't even developed yet. I mean,
it's
scientifically,
the frontal lobe,
Yeah.
25, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 25. So
Yeah.
to have that, but when I fight along the same realm of finances, when I did life and health insurance, it was
Yeah.
the same thing. I approached my 20-something age, 30-something age people, and I was like,
Yeah.
'cause the people that ask about it are the ones that asking because it's too late, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then when you
Most of
run
the
the
time.
same numbers
Yeah.
for a 20-year-old, like you can get $1 million policy for like $40 a month.
Oh, it's so
And
reasonable.
I'm just like,
You have to
why
do it. I know.
wouldn't you want
I
to
know.
do that?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
in the same vein and in the same context
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
we know it because we have the wisdom, right?
Right.
We've spent those extra
Yeah.
10 years
Yep.
in this
In
world
the grind, right?
to know
Yeah.
that money's going to go quickly
Oh,
unless
yeah.
it's working for you or it's locked up.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And I will say that with all that being said, it's never too late. And I do believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
You just
Yeah.
it maybe got to work much harder.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in your 50s and you're
Mm-hmm.
just getting started, you just naturally think about it. You're going to have to work harder to catch up.
Yeah.
But you're probably making more than you did when you were in your 20s too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yep. So,
in any
good.
capacity.
In any-
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Very
So
good.
yeah, but it's a very exciting. It's very exciting to see somebody get started,
Yeah,
even for
for
a little
sure,
amount.
100%.
Yeah,
So, what type of services? Like, I know mentioned investment, but for the layman, like,
Yeah.
I go in your office. All right, what types of investments
Yep.
can you offer?
yeah, great question. So, being independent, I even have more to offer too. So anything from old school mutual funds, ETFs, and we can talk about them if you want what that is. ETFs, stocks, bonds, CDs, money markets, even crypto now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So, gold, silver. I mean, yeah, you name it, really. Annuities, life insurance.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's not one size fits all naturally. So
Okay.
maybe not all of those are going to fit everyone's profile. Rarely it would,
Yeah.
but a few of those yeah. So, but those are the vehicles to grow your money. Those would be the vehicles, the investments to grow money.
Okay. And then
Yep.
again, going back to the layman, like, how do you feel which one's the best one, best
Yeah,
option?
and that's
that?
going to depend
On
for
each
sure.
one, of course.
Yeah, so like but just to give an example for the 20-something that walks in, they can, in my opinion, swing for the fences.
Yeah.
They got so much time.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go all in.
Yeah.
So what I mean by all in is high quality stocks and mutual fund ETFs.
Yeah.
Yeah, equity, high quality equity. So a lot of American big, large cap companies, and some small caps that we haven't heard of. Small cap meaning smaller companies. So
Sure.
maybe we
Yeah.
haven't heard of that. Like a mid cap is like Yeti Cooler, for instance, and like a large cap would be, of course, like McDonald's or Home Depot, Walmart. Yeah.
Got it. You mentioned silver and gold.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on how it's been going? And
Yeah, so right now silver's on sale and gold's expensive.
okay.
Which is it's pretty textbook for the interest rate environment we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So gold's a natural hedge, a historical hedge against inflation,
Yeah.
which is a fancy way of just saying when inflation rises, so does the price of gold.
Mm.
So it's a good investment. I think you might be on the tail end of, probably wouldn't be a great buy, I would argue right now, but for a long-term investor, it would be.
Do you see it? Do you see it increasing at some point?
It's all-time high right now.
Yeah.
So
For silver as well.
silver is actually not. Silver's been beat up pretty good. So you could, if you were a real value-oriented investor, silver would be a good buy right now. Mm-hmm. You'd be buying it on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I about 4 years ago I bought at 22 an ounce.
Okay.
About $5,000.
Yeah.
22.
Of
now
silver?
Yeah, silver.
Yeah.
So now it's at like 30, I think.
Yeah.
32.
It sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
You gotta be happy
something.
with that. Yeah.
I mean, a little something.
Yeah, man.
But I wonder if it's gonna shoot up a little bit more.
Yeah, and I would tell you though that those are commodities. So when I have these conversations with my clients, I'll tell them, listen, don't think of silver and gold as a real wealth builder.
Right.
In my opinion, and that's, of course, you could talk to another advisor, they
Yeah.
would argue with me. But I think that the real wealth building is in, my favorite is blue chip, large cap, dividend paying stocks,
Yeah.
U.S. stocks.
Got it.
Yep. So that's where, just historically, I can show you a bunch of graphs
Yeah.
to prove that point.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to that point, which would be, all right, for someone that's not too savvy in the stock market and they wanted to get started, what are some safe areas to get started?
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, I think if anyone that lived through COVID, they know some safe areas to get started in.
Yeah.
Those were the businesses that were still open.
Yes.
So,
yes.
in your opinion, what are some safe areas to get started
So-
with versus your more risky but
Yeah.
seem good?
Well,
returns?
right now, their money markets are still worth talking about. They're still in 4.5, south of 5% right now, and that's no risk. So I would argue that is not a long-term investment though, because it's going to keep coming down as the Fed cuts interest rates.
Yeah.
But that would be like if you're a total chicken. And like I don't know what you're even talking about, Kenyon, and
Right.
it's like a savings account, money market.
Yeah.
So it's basically a savings account. So that would be that's like step one, right? And then you got ultra short bonds. But I could go on and on, but
Well, I bring it
Yeah.
up because, as we mentioned, the generational gap, right? I think people are more in tune now. Your 20-somethings are going to look to their phone before they come talk to you in person.
yeah, that's
so
true.
they're going to see something on the
That's
app,
right.
on a fund, investing app that says buy this,
Yep.
and this, and that's what they're going to go off as
Exactly.
opposed to coming and talking with a face
It's
to face
true.
with a professional.
Right.
That's
so
right.
it's kind of my idea with the question was to bridge that gap.
Yeah,
of,
man.
Like, get it out
Oh,
there
I appreciate it.
immediately.
Yeah,
Of,
absolutely.
Hey, what are some companies that I should be looking at instead of just, hey,
Yeah.
let me just Google something.
Exactly, and then I would warn them, and those kids are smarter than me about that stuff. But I would just say that a lot of those are paid advertisements too. So you just got to be so careful with all that advice, So and then you're right about that though, because most of the ones that are young that come see me, it's like their parents do business with me.
Right.
Because the ones that are just looking on the internet, it's just a different way. It's generational, like you said. Yeah, they're not gonna open the phone book and call your local financial advisor.
Yeah.
You need I feel you need the example, right? If your parents your parents are working with them, and then you see return on that because you see
that's it.
It's right
Seeing's
in front of you.
believing.
And then getting your information through your phone, obviously nothing wrong with that. We're in
No.
the age of information.
That's
But
right.
I find it, especially, it will segue into more local with this comment.
Yeah.
But for a local business, I feel you have to go talk to someone in person.
Oh yeah, yep.
And
No doubt.
it's a great feeling too, being able to go walk in
It
your
is,
office
man.
and just having a conversation with you
Exactly.
instead of some
Have
guy
a
in
cup
New
of
York.
coffee. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate that too, having
Yeah.
someone local that
Yeah.
I could just walk to your office. That's good.
No, me too. And that's kind of I have that's the whole like hometown advisor feel that I'm.
That's what it is.
This is my town. I love St. Cloud, and it feels good to be downtown. I think my great grandfather had a golf station on Pennsylvania, where Kisselback is right now.
Oh, nice.
So I could like.
You could see where he was.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
exactly.
Man.
So it feels pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How far back we'll have this conversation.
Yeah.
How far back does your family go?
That's as far back as on my dad's side. It's my great grandfather.
Okay.
And then on my mom's side, it's the same. My great grandfather moved. Actually, on my mom's side, it's a little more colorful. My grandpa and my great uncle ran away from home.
Wow.
And moved and were down here, and then they
Down
went to
here.
California. They were going all the sunshine places.
Did they buy property? Did they buy land here?
They ended up. It gets a little blurred. I think there was some run-ins with the law too. We're talking,
That's fun, though.
We're talking hillbillies here.
That's
yeah,
fun.
It's cool. But I think that if I'm right about this, my great grandparents moved down here, and then they were like, okay, now you're down here too. So
Yeah.
it was kind of that kind of thing.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
if it
wild.
was local law, it was probably my family.
Exactly. Exactly, dude. Yeah, man. So it was a different area for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bring that up just because I like having those conversations with people. It's just like because somewhere down the line, most of us are related because you only
no
have
doubt,
a
dude.
really strong
Oh, yeah.
foundation
I'm sure.
of families here with the Partons, the Bronsons,
Exactly,
the
man.
Albritons.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. You
a
guys
little bit.
were been around here longer than us, right? You've
Yeah,
been
so I'm sixth generation. As
Yeah.
far back as I know it goes further.
Yep.
As far back as I know, it goes my grandparents, and then my great-grandfather, Reamer, who I'm named after, was
Yeah.
the first game warden in the county.
Yeah,
And then his father was here before that even happened, which
That's
was
wow.
Enoch Albritton. Yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah. No, it's so cool. I always tell people that we've been around a while, but it's like we weren't here long enough to actually own the land. We were the cow hands. We were
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't owning anything. We were working for the people that own
Right.
things. We were working for your family.
I've heard some crazy stories from people, and that's actually one of the most fun parts about being a younger generation, but going to such places that you frequent in the bars and the local places
Yeah.
of people that are in their 60s, 70s, that
Oh,
have been
yeah.
here for so long. Hearing those stories, like your local tales and your local stories,
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
is one of
Yeah.
the great things about St.
That's
Cloud.
cool.
And
Oh, yeah.
we're a little less common, and we're going to be
Yeah.
even less common
Oh, yeah,
in the next
dude.
10 to 20 years.
It's inevitable.
Yeah. Jason's coming up here from Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys, everybody comes here for a reason. right?
Yeah,
And we
man.
still have the small town feel.
Yeah.
which
It does. It
and-
does.
And that's what we really promote,
Absolutely. Small town life. Wasn't that the saying for a long time?
It was, yeah.
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 Yeah. Celebrating
Celebrating
small
small town life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Per
Yeah.
capita, we're not small town
Yeah.
anymore. But I mean,
It's-
obviously,
yeah.
we talked with Mr. Tony Busby about a lot of that last week, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I
What is
think
he saying?
well, there's a lot to
I
say.
haven't seen that one yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check it out.
I will.
'cause There's,
I'll watch
it.
there's
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of really good local
Yeah, yeah.
information there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, he was on the podcast yesterday, and
It was
there is
yesterday.
So or
No,
last
last
week.
week.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I just
Yeah, wait,
spoke,
not
yeah,
too
yeah.
bad.
But there's a lot of good information there of just
I guarantee
what
it,
we're
man.
looking at in the future.
Yeah.
He's really got his fingers on the pulse.
Yeah.
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 Business wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Small business and everybody together.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Networking. And,
No, I love it. Love it.
yeah.
It's exciting.
And speaking on that subject as well, we talked about this with Tony. Is you're very much involved with a lot of the local businesses and things like that.
Sure.
You come out to the events.
Yeah, man.
You network. You're very community involved. You're in the parade. You're out
Yeah.
here in downtown. You have a lot of hometown passion. So
Yep.
speak on that a little bit. Obviously, you're born and raised here. But
Right.
speak on how important it is to be involved in your community.
Oh,
how much
yeah,
you
man.
like going around to these events, things like that.
Oh, it's a
what
blast.
What you would say to new residents? Someone coming to your show for the first time. I don't know
Yeah.
how many people approach
I definitely
you.
recommend that. They should go.
I recommend it as well. Yes.
Yeah, but it is. That's what. That's probably. I don't know if I'm answering it directly, but what I've just thought of is, my music has been probably the greatest marketing that I've ever had for
Right,
my
right.
my business.
Yeah. Of
So,
course.
I'd like to think that my performances, my shows, are little bubbles of local people that
Right,
just
right.
want to see everybody knows each other. It's kind of a really neat atmosphere. I would recommend if you're trying to get plugged in, if you're new, that you should come to one of my. I mean, you should come to one of my shows anyway.
Yeah.
Even if
for
you don't
sure.
like my music, no. But it is kind of it's a nice little networking.
Well, you won't know
Yeah.
unless you go to a show.
There you
right?
go.
So,
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not everybody's gonna like my music, but
It's fine.
No,
Yeah.
it's great.
thank you,
Great.
buddy.
Yeah.
I think atmospherically, if they don't like your music, they're probably not
Well,
going to like the atmosphere anyway.
there
so
you
it's
go.
just not for them.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that I just get like the warm, fuzzy feeling, man, going into local
Right.
stuff and seeing your friends and shaking hands and
Yeah.
having a drink and
Right.
cutting loose a little bit. It's I look forward to it. Every
Yeah.
event I can go to, I'm there.
Do you get the feel of regulars going to the shows and you see them pretty much
Exactly.
all the time?
I do.
Yeah, that's great.
That it is. It makes you feel good, and
Yeah.
that's the power of music. That's way bigger than any musician.
Yeah.
Just music makes people happy, and it's the greatest thing about it to me. So if especially on a Friday,
course.
if you had a bad week,
Yeah.
you just blow off some steam, enjoy
Yeah.
some music, and never talk anything serious. I'm just up there
Right.
having a good time with
Yeah,
them.
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
It's an outlet.
it is,
Yeah,
man.
I
is.
Yeah.
really feel for any type of creative mind, especially a creative mind that gets into business, you have to have an outlet.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to go crazy if you do.
I
not.
guarantee it. I guarantee it, man. And that's where I tell people my music is mine. Like some people, it's golf or hunting, fishing. Except
That's
what's
right.
good about mine is I actually get paid to do it too.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you've cracked the formula.
Yeah, that's right.
You cracked it.
Exactly, man. Yeah.
And
So-
how supportive is your family behind all that? 'Cause I'm sure you're crazy
yeah, thank
busy.
you for asking, man. They're very supportive. My kids are 11 and 12, and they're starting. They always used to sing at my shows, but they're getting a little older now. They're like, Dad, I don't want to sing tonight.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but my son Kenyon Jr. is more into performing still. He likes the spotlight a
Yeah.
little bit. Like
Got it.
I don't know where he gets it from. So, and then my wife, she's totally great about it. She's part of the show too.
Awesome.
When people come, they're like, "When's Jenny gonna sing?"
Oh.
I'm like, "Come on, guys! I thought the show was about me."
No, nope.
Yeah, I know. So they want to see Jenny. So that works out great. And then she's helping in my office too.
That's good.
Yeah, so she's doing fielding some phone calls for me and
Nice.
answering emails, and so it's a real family affair for sure.
That's good.
On both, yeah. She gets that music. She loves the music too. She gets it's a part of me, and she's been on my records. We've sang duets, recorded duets together. So
awesome.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah, man, it works out great.
So you're performing tonight at
Yeah.
Krabby Bill's, right?
No, the tavern.
Oh, the tavern.
Yep,
Canoe
the
Creek
Canoe
Tavern.
Creek. Yep, off right near Cornerstone
Okay.
Church there in
Yep.
that Shell gas the Circle K.
Yeah, and when is
Yeah.
Krabby's? Krabby's is
Krabby's is the first and third Friday of each month.
first and third Fridays.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I put like over 300 events on my app.
Oh yeah,
And
dude.
I can't remember
Oh,
every
no.
single
How
one
could
of
you?
them.
Yeah.
Like,
how could
so I
Yeah.
try my best to just put it and just
Yeah.
copy and paste it over and over
You
again.
got
But
event and date brain. I got real estate brain.
Oh my
It's
God, it's true.
What house are
Yeah.
you talking
it's
about?
Yeah.
it's funny because like it asked me, hey, what's going on tomorrow? It's like, well, let me check the app. Like
Right.
I'm not
Right.
like a just brain. I could just
Exactly.
come up with a few things, but it's on the app.
Yeah.
I'll put you on there.
That's awesome, man.
And I look
Awesome.
forward to, if you have any new ones, like off the
You
ones
bet,
that are
man.
not the regular ones, just send it over.
I'll tell you that the Parrot is cool because so the Tavern and Krabby's is me solo, and so there's really like two. I have like
Yeah.
two crowds. They rarely overlap, which is pretty funny. There's a crowd that really likes to just see me solo, and then the Parrot I'm with my band,
Nice.
and it's louder. It's a different energy level, and there's people that like that more.
Yeah. Is the same type of music?
Same type of music.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's
That's
pretty.
cool.
Yeah, I can now. Don't get me. We can get a little funny, like if we start horsing around, like we can
Yeah.
play some off the wall stuff with the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I wouldn't try it by myself,
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but
That's
Yeah.
the
You-
purpose of the band.
you get
right?
that
feeding
vibe
off each other.
exactly,
Yeah,
dude.
Feeding off the
You
energy
can't
of each
fake
other.
that.
Right.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
You,
Good
you,
stuff.
you get that with like when it's you, it's just you. It's singular. It's
That's
pretty much
it.
what you think, but then you have someone else bouncing off of you, throwing ideas, throwing sounds, throwing energy.
You're
Yeah.
so right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're surprised. It surprised me that you're not a musician.
I've always music's a huge
Didn't-
part of my
Yeah,
just
yeah.
world. You know,
Yeah,
like,
man.
If I
Those are good questions you have. Like, you sound like a musician.
That's good.
I've been told I'm musically inclined because I've practiced with pianos and like I've taken voice lessons at
Oh, there
jammers
you
and
go.
things like that.
Yeah, man.
Just because I've always been so interested in it.
Yeah.
And I know it's so like you can get so intricate with music and sounds.
Big time.
Being super creative with it. And
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of the music I am drawn to is a lot more of the progressive rock.
Oh,
and
cool,
things
man.
like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually I take that as a compliment.
Yeah,
when you say
dude.
that,
I mean,
especially
yeah.
from a musician.
Well, yeah. But it's just because you can't. That's something that you got to experience it to even know about it. I
Right.
think so. Yeah, that's cool.
So, are you always looking for new gigs, or are this?
No,
do
not
you have,
the gigs anymore. I'm
You
looking.
have enough,
And I never want to say that, right?
right?
But I've been so blessed. I've gotten to. You've got to figure this though. I've been kicking around doing that since I was. If you really
Yeah.
wanted to count high school.
Yeah.
St. Cloud High School, I had a rock band.
Yeah.
So we're talking 30 years.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out.
That's right. Go Bulldogs. All right. So, but yeah, I had a rock band in high school, and then so I've been kicking around this town posting. I literally posted like posters around town to see my rock band at Medina's Pizzeria, like
Right.
in the year 2000.
Yeah.
So since 2000, I've been shamelessly
That's insane.
promoting myself.
Yeah.
as a-
Did you graduate around that
yeah.
time?
I graduated in 03.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm the old guy in the class. Man.
Yeah, man. Class of 03. But yeah, I think what I was getting at is that has been just time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I pick up private functions here and there,
Yeah.
and then and I've got my staples set for now. I do. I think I would miss it if I lost one of them. I
Yeah.
probably then would start looking again.
Yeah. If there was someone to need
Yeah,
a private, how would they
that's
get a
right.
hold of you?
I think just on Facebook or
Yeah. Just reach out to you.
reach out to me, kenyoncapitalgroup.com.
Yeah.
You could send me I'd be like, oh, I look a new prospect. Then you're like, can I hire you to sing?
Can I hire you to sing? That's
Right. Yeah.
That's a good opening question because I just had a light bulb to ask you this because you're pretty set with the music, like you're
Yeah.
very comfortable with it. So,
Yep.
what's something that would make you uncomfortable? Meaning, let me base the question this way, which would be: is there anything goal oriented or that you haven't done in the music realm that you want to do? Is there an accomplishment that you want to accomplish? And then we'll also
Yeah.
caveat that with where you want to go with the
Yeah.
Capital Group
Yeah.
as well. Goals. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
man.
goals.
So with the music, I do feel like I had an amazing go at it. So to answer your question, I feel like my goal with my music is to continue to write and create.
Sure.
Like I'm playing it looks like it's fading away, but we have a recording. I recorded this year. I was planning on it being ready for Christmas. Christmas is coming up fast.
Yeah, it is.
But like I want to keep producing albums, and it's just a great way to document that I'm
Sure,
writing
sure.
still. And it's like if I just never recorded them, why am I bothered to write them?
Right.
So that's my goal with that. I don't want to tour or anything anymore.
sure.
I got to do some of that, which was a blast in my Nashville days. But so that's where I think I can hang my hat on it and say I really did. I gave it my best to go big for like 6 years in Nashville, basically. So I rest on that. I know God's got me where He wants me now.
Right.
Yeah,
Of course.
and so that's that. But for the my firm, I don't know if I want to do this, but I think that I want to have multiple offices someday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
I don't know logistically what that would look like. I don't feel like I'm a good manager of people. So like I know I'd have to hire people to work.
Right.
And I know I'm a very good financial advisor, and I know how to manage my clients. I know how to work with my clients.
Right.
But I don't know how to say, hey, can you send that email to blah blah blah?
Yeah.
Where do I
Right.
stop working? Where do I lend this responsibility to somebody else? I'm just holding it all to myself. So that would be my challenge for sure.
Do you think that comes from a personality of like I don't want to micromanage, or I've never had to do it, so it's just kind of uncomfortable?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm the kind of guy that says it'll just be faster to just do it than to slow down and
Yeah.
explain this to
Right,
someone.
Right.
So I need to maybe slow down sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lesson I've had to learn in business a lot,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
with like the B&I group, being in leadership in that thing.
Yeah.
There's points where I've wanted to micromanage because, entrepreneur, business owner,
Yep.
you probably have that mentality and that mindset of I want control
Yes.
over most everything.
Yep.
But you have to learn to just trust people
Yeah.
and let them do what they're going to do. But, patience
Exactly.
is a key part of that because everyone learns differently. Like
Yeah.
I
Oh
said.
my,
I mean,
yeah.
it's also like as a parent, it's
Yeah.
the same kind of concept.
Yes. Yeah.
With homework and studying and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like what
Yeah.
steps they would need to do.
Exactly.
And you're on them, but there's sometimes that you almost want to see them fail in
Right.
a way.
Yeah.
Right? And say, all right, well, I messed up. Well, you got an F. Well, why'd you get an F?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because I didn't want to be on you every single day, but now you
Exactly.
realize it. So it's very similar to
It
that.
is. It
Like,
is.
you lost a
got-
client. Why? Well, that was
Yeah,
on you. You
that's
didn't
right.
do the follow up.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's where I gotta. That's probably
Yeah.
gonna be the biggest challenge for me to
Sure.
grow up if I'm to branch out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Good
though.
point.
You'll
Good
be all
point.
right.
Yeah.
Just treat him as I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Treat him as if it was your child in a way, like
Exactly.
you're learning from
Yeah.
growing up and how to
Exactly.
do it with them.
Yeah, and to that point as well is like I've worked around people, especially younger people, and they turn to me for advice. But I'm also kind of watching them to see like,
Yeah.
all right, how do you do it?
Right.
Can you teach me something that I
Yeah,
didn't know?
right.
That's
Because,
when you really got it
If
going
they're
on.
more relaxed and
Yeah.
they're doing it, and I'm stressed in doing it, I'm like, how do you tap into that?
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
do you do that? Because that's not me.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I'm
cool.
orderly. I'm this.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
that. I'm like. Then I start to think about when it comes to that energy we talked about.
Yep.
Like this is why I need someone like you.
Yeah.
Because you can handle it completely different than I can, and you don't get rattled, and you
Right.
don't,
Yeah.
you don't, or you're not on top of people. You're far more autonomous with your approach.
Right.
It's
That's
having
it.
that balance to bounce off of you. Like I'm sure
Yep.
your wife, in a lot of ways, is the
Oh yeah.
opposite of you.
Yes. And with a spouse, it's very different.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can't talk to her like a.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
she's my lightning rod.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
finding
not
that
good.
partnership.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Great.
the rub with having your
Yeah.
spouse in there. So.
Yeah. You have to know where to
You
draw that
do.
line. You got to
gotta-
figure out how
yeah,
the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. No, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. That's God. This has been great.
This
Yeah.
has been great. I know we talked about the Tavern and Krabby's. Where else
Yeah.
can people find you coming up to
Yeah,
holiday
man.
season? Is your schedule
Yeah.
booked out? I mean, besides, obviously, you can find him at
It is
his
pretty much.
office on Florida
That's
Ave.
right.
It's like right in the middle of St. Cloud.
That's it. Florida and 12th.
Yeah, there
Right.
you go. You
That's
can't
it.
miss his name is on the
Yeah,
That's
right
right.
there, right in the
Side.
corner. Yeah.
Yeah, come see me. I tell people that all the time. I am pretty much booked out for the rest of the year.
Cool.
A lot of holiday, not that I'm playing, but like my family has holiday stuff going
Sure,
on.
sure.
Nice. Yeah.
And I got some private functions in Okeechobee, which is cool to branch out like that a little bit. And then just the Tavern, Krabby's, and the Parrot for the
Yeah.
rest of the year. And then the parade. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, man.
And I
So-
wanted to give you kudos on camera because I know you've been super excited for this.
Yeah, I
for
have been.
weeks. We had to push you back once or twice,
Yeah,
which I
hurricanes.
apologize
Yeah.
for. Yeah, the
Exactly.
hurricane hit, and that was obviously everyone had to deal with that. But I
Oh,
also
yeah.
wanted to thank you for being cordial.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
you
Oh, yeah,
you reached
man.
out to me privately and you were like, "Hey, come by the office." Obviously, very comfortable atmosphere.
Cool,
so I wanted
buddy.
to thank you just for being you,
Thank
being
you,
cordial
man.
with me,
It
and
means a
extending
lot.
the invite. Like, I just wanted to match the energy and be like, you know what, this guy's interested. I definitely want to have him in.
That's
I definitely
awesome,
wanna have
dude.
him
Yeah.
talking.
That means a lot to me,
Good
brother.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's a shame you didn't bring your guitar. So
I
you could play
know,
some
man.
tunes,
Yeah, that would have cost.
No,
more
you gotta
money.
look. You gotta look him up. I
That's
mean,
right.
Put in the effort. Look him up.
That's
the guy,
right.
The guy's working for a living.
Thank
Please
you.
support him.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is a
stuff.
blast.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Too.
Kenyon, thank you.
My man.
Kenyon,
Okay.
appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Jason, Kenyon, thank you for being here. I'm Dalton. As always, inviting you to find your way to live in St. Cloud.
See you around.